epic meeting at the end of the game between Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. I think that Nick Saban was genuinely excited and happy. He hates to lose. Yes, he's the ultimate competitor, and I'm sure that he's hurting for his players, but you could see it on his face. He had a bigger grin on his face at midfield congratulating Kirby Smart than he does when he wins the national championship. I thought that was really cool because I know he's thinking, damn, we lost inside. He's like, pissed off. Lost a national championship. But the other side of Nick Saban is like, that's my guy. He finally won it. So if I had to lose it, I lost it to him. It's cool. And he was happy. And he was, I'm sure, happy in a sense. I don't even know how to explain it when that's got to be a strange feeling. I can't put myself in that place where Nick Saban would have been. And you see this from time to time in sports where you've got to, they have to be at the level of competitor that they are pissed off that they just lost. They work too hard and they love their team and love their kids too much to not be pissed off about the loss. But at the same time, they've worked with this guy. They've mentored him. They've seen him grow and build a program. So they're charged up and happy for the other guy. It's got to be a strange feeling. Maybe it's like sending your kids off to college or something. So that I have experienced, or knowing that your kids are graduating from college and watching them walk down the aisle and go across the stage to think, oh man, my baby's growing up, but I am so proud of them. That's what I can compare it to. All right. So all the Georgia fans in the live chat, I'm probably not going to be able to catch up with you. There's Eric Schneider. Congratulations, Eric. You must be a Georgia fan. So let's take our next call. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark. It's Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Mark. Hey, just to say, just excited after great cap to what has been a pretty cool and interesting season this year. Certainly excited to see just someone new as a national champion, someone who hasn't been there in a while. I know Georgia's not like an underdog program by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, it is some fresh blood, you know, at the top of the heap right here. So, I mean, I didn't have any rooting interest in the game, but I think in the end, like, the rightful team, the deserving team won. I really hated to see the Jamison Williams injury early in the game, but, you know, we never know. It's part of the game. So, and I was just wondering, like, do you feel like this victory for Georgia might create a little bit of a market shift, a little bit of a change in the approach to in the zeitgeist of, you know, how to build a team? Because this Georgia team doesn't look anything like most of the teams that have won national championships recently. They're very heavy. And, you know, like they like to line up in the I formation and, you know, 21, 22 personnel and just sort of run it right at you. They work the play action. You know, they've got defensive linemen and they're like true nose tackles. You know, the defensive line goes like 270 to like 350 all the way across. And as the game's become just sort of more of a perimeter game, you know, a lot about speed and space. Do you think this, you know, Georgia's showing you can get it done this way? You can actually get to the top of the mountain playing this brand of football in 2021. Do you think that will, you know, change, you know, maybe, you know, change the way some of the upper tier programs approach building their teams?
Well, I don't know if it's going to change anybody else, but I think it proves basically the same thing that Michigan proved this year. So they proved the same thing. Georgia just has more talent. And so they proved it on the national stage as opposed to Michigan just proving it in the Big Ten, is that What Michigan did this year that impressed me, and I know we're talking Georgia, but I liken it to Michigan in that, and we knew this when they faced each other, that we were going to see carbon copies of each other facing off. Just again, Georgia's more talented, is that Michigan was able to maintain its identity. And so I see the same thing out of Georgia, able to maintain a tough bully mentality. I say that in a positive way for anybody that's a little sensitive out there. Bully mentality on offense with offensive linemen that want to fire off the ball and push people around and dominate, with a run game, with run first mentality, using tight ends in blocking schemes, shoot for Michigan using a quasi fullback at times, but being able to have a core identity in what they believe and what they do well, but also being able to adjust and also add and complement that with updated formations and concepts, to be able to quickly go to 4 and 5 wide spread formation and use all the concepts that everybody else is. So to be good at both.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I think they might, in some ways, I think you have an advantage a little bit being a little bit different, because, if everybody else is recruiting kind of the same types of athletes and the same types of players, that pool gets pretty thin pretty quickly, right? Everyone's after the quick slot receivers who can, nowadays who can run 4.4. They're all after the dancing bear, offensive tackles who, might not be the most physical, but if you're, one of 2 or 3 countries in the program committed to like actually playing this brand of football, there's not as many people competing for those resources. Like I said, I don't know how many people, I don't know what Jordan Davis's recruiting profile was like, but I imagine there were quite a few big programs that said, nah, we don't really need anybody like that.
He was only a 3-star. I know that.
Well, he was a 3-star, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in 1998, he might have been a 5-star. That kind of guy. I don't know, but yeah. So, and just gonna say, do you Bryce Young playing today? There's such a difference with them with obviously Williams and Mechie on the field, and both of them not being there. He looked, I don't know, like kind of lost out there at times tonight.
Well, you lose the guys that you've been playing with all year, and most teams, and I'm sure Alabama's included, they have their first team out there in practice all the time working, and the second string quarterback only works so much with the ones, and the twos with the ones, and so the first string quarterback with the twos. So I think that was obvious. I think that was apparent. I don't want to take anything away from Georgia, but I just think that was apparent that he missed those guys.
Yeah. Certainly not to make an excuse or to take anything away from Georgia. It falls on Bryce Young ultimately. I was surprised because he played the whole year with such confidence and such decisiveness, such kind of swagger out there. And I don't know. It really, really felt like, I don't know, maybe he over-adjusted. And maybe these receivers, maybe this is a minor problem for Alabama next season. I just didn't see anybody really develop any of those next level playmakers, even in the Cincinnati game. The passing game wasn't exactly dynamic against them either. And like these offensive weapons aren't creating a lot of separation. Again, like Georgia's an elite defense and Cincinnati's a very good defense. So, level of competition, and they don't have the refs yet, but I don't know. It's kind of a minor point of concern, a potential point of concern for Alabama going forward that they haven't
Bryce
had
Young?
in a while. They've been so deep.
Bryce
What?
Young is?
No, I'm talking about. Well, I mean, talking about the offensive weapons, the wide receivers going forward next year. I mean, none of them in the last couple games really showed out to me that they're really, at least yet, ready to be the guy, ready to take
You're right.
over.
You're right.
Ready to take over.
I'm pretty confident that they
over.
will be, but you're right. They showed that they weren't. I thought there were two enormous plays. One was to Corey Brooks, and it was the play before the interception that iced the game. He dropped the ball. Bryce Young threw a perfect pass, and down the right sideline, the Alabama would have been inside the 10-yard line. Maybe he would have scored a touchdown. So who knows what would have happened? He catches that ball. We might be sitting here saying Alabama won another national championship. And then the other one was, oh, shoot. I've got it down here. But anyway, whoever it was, he made a couple decent plays after that. I think he actually even scored a touchdown. He flat out dropped a brilliant throw from Bryce Young. I guess I just watch these games a little different than other people. I think we put way too much on these quarterbacks. Did Bryce Young play the best game of his life? No, but did he play I think it's a very simple thing. I think we should all go back out in the backyard and start throwing footballs to somebody about 20 yards away, and then have do that for about 5 or 6 throws, and then have like 4 people rush right at us and knock us on the ground while we're trying to throw the ball, and see how well that goes. Georgia's pass rush in this game versus the first meeting they were two completely different defenses entirely.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and that's interesting too. Georgia's pass rush just kicked butt the entire season, except for that SEC championship game. And honestly, Alabama's O-line has been a sore spot of minor concern. So, I mean, I thought coming into the day that SEC championship performance was a bit of an outlier, but I wasn't expecting like that stark of a difference. I mean, Alabama's, they still got an offensive tackle in there who's going to be a top 5 pick. And they still got a bunch of other guys that are, good enough to play offensive line at Alabama. So, it was, but they got their butts whooped, and Young was definitely under pressure, and some of his struggles certainly weren't all his fault tonight. But you could definitely tell, like Mechie was his security blanket all year, and Williams was his home run hitter.
Yep.
And without them, I don't know. And I thought I'm going to say like one quick thing, and I'll open up the lines here. But that last drive, the last series when they got before Young threw that interception on 3rd down, I thought the play calling on those were just terrible. Like those decisions, they were moving the ball pretty well by mixing their route depths and all that. But then the last 3 possessions, I was watching it and I rewatched it again. On both 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, all the routes, every single one of them were 15 yards downfield. And Georgia was basically in a cover 2 look, and none of it was ever going to be open. And I don't know. I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, I didn't really understand why they felt they just had to go for the jugular at that point in the game. So,
well, I appreciate the call, man.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Yeah, thank
Take
you.
care.